Here we are again for another episode of The Hourglass, where family law and psychology intersect. Right now, in the middle of the holidays, those going through a breakup are having an even harder time dealing with sadness, loss, frustration, anger, which we covered extensively earlier in our holiday series, and also anxiety and fear over the demands the holidays present. We also want to address the holiday blues. Let's get to our guest for today's show, Dr. Jennifer Franklin. Dr. Franklin is with Open Door Therapy and is a licensed psychologist by trade and a self-professed anthropologist by nature. I've heard a lot said and written about the holiday blues. Can you give us just a quick definition? What does it mean to say someone is suffering from the holiday blues?
Well, I think it means that they're starting to feel a little down or depressed or anxious, maybe also about the holidays, about the things that are involved in the holidays and what it means.
Right. And so when does these things start coming on? Is it this an August thing? Is it after Halloween? Is there any clear demarcation for when the holiday blues tend to start up?
I don't think so. I think that as soon as you start thinking about your holiday plans, you could start feeling a little upset or a little mood change or some tension or anxiety. I think it could happen once you start shopping for people or thinking about shopping for people. I think there's a lot of different ways that this could come up for somebody. So it just depends. Okay.
And what kinds of things do you work on with your clients who come in and their initial complaint is that they're suffering from the holiday blues?
Honestly, I don't think I've ever had anybody come into my practice and say, I'm coming to you for the holiday blues. But it's just something that seems to happen. Like, let me just say it this way. My phone tends to ring more around the holidays.
Right.
People want to book more appointments, or, if somebody's seeing me on a less regular basis, they might start to see me on a more regular basis when it comes to the holidays.
Gotcha. Okay. So then as they're coming in more often or calling more often during the holidays, how do you help people deal with these issues?
I think it really depends on what somebody's experiencing. It's very individual. If somebody's, first of all, we have to understand, what might be activating the holiday blues for them. Is this something that happens every single year? Is it more seasonal affective, right? Is it, the clocks change, it gets darker earlier, and that has some kind of effect on us, as it does for many people. So is it more that? Is that where the problem begins? Or, is it that plus maybe thinking about going to a particular holiday event and thinking about the people who are going to be there and how those interactions have been in the past? Is it that you've been through a breakup and you're thinking about what the holidays are like without that person in your life, without showing up with that person at events? And so it just really depends on what somebody's experience is, how you help them to deal with it.
We had a previous guest on the show talking just about meditation and a little bit about mindfulness. How do you incorporate meditation and mindfulness into your practice?
Gosh, I've been doing that for about 20 years. And I've kind of, the way that I work that in now is, first of all, we're practicing mindfulness in some capacity a lot of the time when we're working together. So mindfulness is a state of consciousness, and we're kind of entering into that state every so often as I, invite people to experience what's happening in their minds, in their bodies, and emotionally. And so I think that just naturally happens in the work. But I think if somebody's interested in starting a mindfulness meditation practice, or if I think starting a mindfulness meditation practice would be helpful, then I can certainly offer guidance or direct people to group classes or books to help. And a lot of guided meditations you can find online and in a lot of different places nowadays. There are also ways that I like to help people take meditation off the cushion, is what it's called. And I actually really like helping people to do that, because a lot of times people practice meditation and they get so much out of those minutes that they're sitting, but then they don't necessarily understand how to apply what they're learning on the cushion to their everyday lives. And so I like really helping people to make mindfulness, to learn how to practice mindfulness in their everyday lives, and how to make mindful decisions, and how to just incorporate mindfulness living into their day-to-day.
Do you have any tips for people who might be coming into the holiday season feeling down about whatever's bothering them, whether it's changes in their lives, being able to celebrate traditions, or having to find new traditions? Do you have a couple tips for them to try and get them through it?
Well, I think it's really helpful if people can take some of the stress and pressure off of themselves during the holiday season, because the holidays do tend to bring hubbub, right? There's rushing, and there's just a lot of pressure to, people sometimes feel a lot of pressure to get the right gifts for people. And I think that if we can just take some of that pressure off, that in and of itself is really helpful. So, and you can do that by just really thinking about what you really need to do. If you want to kind of tailor things down to what you absolutely need to do versus what you would like to do. And sometimes what we would like to do and the way we would like to do things would be more time consuming and would be more taxing. And so just really accepting that, I have certain time constraints, and to not do more than what is actually realistic, or what you care to do, because you can only do so much. So I think that's really helpful. I also think that, if the holidays tend to be a sad time, or, if there tend to be difficult relationships that make the holidays hard, then I think making sure to surround yourself with a lot of people in your life, in your day-to-day, that you have good relationships with. So if you're spending, a good chunk of time with relatives that don't make you feel so good, maybe, work in some time with some other people in close proximity, or even mixed up there, so that you have some breaks, and then you kind of have some good connection happening as well.
Right. That split between the family that you're born into and maybe the family that you make yourself.
Just staying connected to the people who really love and care about you and support you, and that you feel really safe being yourself around, right? Not everybody can say that about all of their relatives.
Yeah.
So we want to just stay connected. And even another tip is maybe letting some of those people that really do love and support you, that you do feel you can be your authentic self with, to let them know ahead of time, hey, the holidays are a tough time for me. I tend to get down. I tend to feel sad. I tend to feel lonelier. I tend to feel, upset when I go to my family's house, and to, would it be okay if I reached out to you, even on Christmas Day? If I did that, would you be able to respond to me, even in a text message? Just let me know that you're there, that you're with me in spirit.
Right.
So to set that up ahead of time, so that people aren't surprised, and they know that, if you're reaching out, you might actually really need the extra support.
Yeah, great idea. I mean, when I got divorced 14 years ago, I preempted it by sending out an email to the most important people in my life: my parents, my sister, my best friend. And I basically just said, listen, this marriage isn't working. I need to get divorced. Here's what I need from you going forward, and here's what I don't need from you. I don't need to hear all the negativity about my soon-to-be ex-spouse or how you saw it from the beginning, but these A, B, C, D, and E are the things that I definitely need from you. And
that's a great thing to do.
Their response was overwhelming. Everyone was ready to help, and later on told me that they were grateful because they didn't know really how to respond.
I love that you did that. That is so awesome that you took that step of setting it up for yourself with your family, and really letting them know your boundaries, like this, okay, this not okay. Right. And I think, if you have a family that would be receptive to that kind of direct communication, great. Otherwise, you could have more one-on-one conversation with relatives to say, hey, I really need you. This is really hard for me. And, I anticipate this happening. So can I blah, 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 if I need to? Can I pull you in a
Right.
room, and can I have a hug sometimes, or whatever you need to ask for?
Right.
You know
Right.
that it's a low risk to ask somebody for something that you need, then ask. By all means, ask.
And so you mentioned up top about dealing with people with gut pain and irritable bowel syndrome. What kind of resources do you have available for them?
If people do have gut problems, or the kinds of things that I'm really focused on working with, the name of my website is don'thateyourguts.com. And there's a lot of education there for patients and for psychotherapists working with patients who have disorders of gut-brain interaction, or chronic pain, or, one of a number of different symptoms.
Thanks also for all the background you gave us about the holiday blues and about incorporating mindfulness into our everyday actions, not just reserving it for sitting on top of a mountain or sitting on a cushion, as you put it. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.